Hey everyone, it's Affy, and today I am here to do what is a late mid-year book freakout tag. I don't have excuses. I have no excuses. It's been taking me a while to get videos done, so this one's a late one, but as I always say when I do this, it's better late than never. So we're getting it done. But yeah, in this video, I'm just going to be talking about kind of books that I've read so far this year and books that I'm looking forward to reading moving forward. So if you're interested, go ahead and stick around and find out. The first question is, what is your favorite book that you've read so far this year? I actually have two. I couldn't think of a book off the top of my head. I actually had to go and look through my reading journal and see which books I had given 5 stars so far this year. There really hasn't been anything that's like knocked me off my socks. So these are just the 2 books that I've had the most fun with this year so far. The first one is If the Duke Demands by Anna Harrington. And this book was read for the Tea and Biscuits with the Tea and Biscuits with Tara and B show. It was part of the read along, I believe in June. This one was a lot of fun. We have a Duke, of course, and this was a class difference romance, and those are some of my favorite. That's one of my favorite tropes, class difference. And so I kind of figured I was gonna like it just based off of that alone, and I did. I ended up giving this one 5 stars. And then the other book, or the second book that was on my favorites for this year so far, this is by Joanna Shupe. This is The Prince of Broadway. This is part of the Uptown Girl series. And this one was a lot of fun. It's about a club owner, gambling club owner, and a woman who wants to start a gambling den for women. And so she goes to this guy to ask him to train her, and it's really good. I had a lot of fun with this one. So this was another 5-star read for me this year so far as well. I had completely forgotten that I had a third book on this list, but the third book that I have is actually by Alyssa Braden. This is The Taming of a Highlander. And this is the third book in this series, I believe. Yes, this is the third book in this series. This is the McPherson family. This one is about Broderick, who is the brother who was wrongfully imprisoned and beaten and bruised in prison, and he meets Kate, who is the best friend of I think the heroine in the second book. I really enjoyed myself, and this whole series is really good. I've been enjoying this entire series immensely, so this was another hit for me in this series in particular. Question number 2 is new releases that I haven't read. I have 2 on here, and these are 2 books that I've been seeing a lot about, especially on like Instagram. The authors have been like plugging for these books, and so they've been on my list. I just haven't gotten around to purchasing them yet. But the first one is Hardly a Gentleman by Eloisa James. I remember the person who read the book that gave it a review saying that it was actually really, really funny. Very well done story. So I'm definitely interested in checking that one out. The second book that I want to check out is Eliza and the Duke, which is by Harper St. George. I finished her first series that she did. I think it's the Gilded Age something or other series. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it was a Gilded Age series. And I really enjoyed that one. I think I hated the first book, but I liked the rest of the series. And I just wanted to see what her newest series is and kind of begin that. And So yeah, I put that on my list as well, and she has been plugging it a lot on Instagram. So I feel like I'm missing out on something. So I definitely want to get that one as well and read that before the end of the year. Question number 3 is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I don't actually know if this book comes out this month or later on in the year, but Road Trip with a Rogue by Kate Bateman looks like a lot of fun, and I've really been enjoying everything I've read by Kate Bateman this year so far. And last year as well. I read quite a few books from her last year, so I think it'll be a good one. I'm pretty excited. It's another one that's been on Instagram up and down my feed. So I'm also interested in this one. I feel like it's coming out in July. I wish I would have paid more attention to dates, but I know it's coming out in the second half of the year. And then there's also a Stacey Reid book that's coming out called Scandalous Desires on a Summer Morning. I think it's part of a series. I don't know the name of the series. I don't really know anything about it at all, other than the fact that it's a Stacey Reid book, and that in and of itself is enough for me to know, for me to want to read this book, just because I love Stacey Reid so much. So yeah, that's on the list as well. So yeah. Question number 4 is what are your biggest disappointments for the year? And the first one for me is One Night with You by Sophie Jordan. This was a book that I read during the Ever After-a-thon, and I was part of the Cinderella team. So fairy tale retellings were one of the points for my team in particular, and this was a Cinderella retelling, and so I was really, really excited to read this one, and the premise sounded amazing. The beginning of the book was amazing, and then it hit like the middle point and everything just went downhill from there. I ended up hating the hero. He was a skeeve, and it didn't end very well. Like the last chapter or so was just kind of like, is that it? Is that all? So I was very let down by this one. It had so much potential, and I was let down. The other book that was a disappointment this year, specifically because of who the author is, this is Amanda Quick. This is Rendezvous, and I was really looking forward to this one. But this was a letdown because the relationship between the hero and the heroine felt very much that of a father-daughter relationship and not an actual, like, on the same level relationship. I don't know how to explain it, but it's an age gap, and he kind of just treated her like she was his child, and it was just weird. I didn't like the hero. The heroine felt kind of stupid in some ways. Like she just... It felt like he was her dad, and I didn't like that. So I didn't end up enjoying this one, and made me sad because I've liked every other Amanda Quick book that I've read, so kind of let down by this one, but you can't win them all. So yeah. Question number 5 is what are the biggest surprises you've had this year? So the first one for me is by Lenora Bell. This is How the Duke Was Won. This is part of the Disgraceful Dukes series, and I think this was also part of the Ever After-a-thon. I believe this is a Cinderella retelling. And this one was a lot of fun. The heroine is a very interesting young woman. The hero is a reluctant duke who comes home and realizes that he needs to find a wife as soon as possible. And he decides to have basically a competition where he invites a bunch of women to come and spend time with him at his home in the countryside so that he can get to know them all and pick a woman from the group. I had a lot of fun with this one, and it made me smile quite a few times. It made me chuckle quite a few times. I already mentioned this book, but If the Duke Demands, again, by Anna Harrington. This was one that like I said, it was one of my 2 favorites of the year so far, and I was just taken by surprise by this one. I was like, oh, I didn't expect to like that this much. I've read an Anna Harrington book before and I liked it, but it didn't like blow my socks off, so I wasn't really expecting anything. I had heard that it was really good. I think, is it Jess from Peace, Love, and Books has talked about how much she likes this book. So I had heard that it was good, but I just really ended up loving it more than I thought I would. So, yeah, this was a great one. I really, really enjoyed myself with this one. Number 6 is new favorite author. So I read I read almost entirely new to me authors in April, for New Author April, and quite a few of them were duds. I was actually pretty disappointed that month. I didn't find very many that I liked. There were 2 that kind of stood out for me. So the first one is Anne Gracie. This is The Perfect Rake. And this is part of the Meridew Sisters series. This was the first book in that series. And this book was so good, so funny. I had a really good laugh out of this book. Like, it kept me on my toes. The characters are just also unique and fun, and I really, really enjoyed this one. And Anne Gracie is a really popular historical romance author, so I was happy to finally read something by her. The second author who I ended up enjoying in April is Jennifer McQuiston. This is What Happens in Scotland. And this one was a lot of fun. It's basically a story of a woman and a man who wake up together in a hotel bedroom, and they don't know each other, but apparently they got married to each other the night before, and they wake up and all shit goes loose. Like, this one was fun. This one was a lot of fun. She knocks him over the head with a chamber pot, like, when they first wake up in the morning. Like, if that's not great, I don't know what is. Question number 7 is book that made you cry. I haven't cried at any book so far this year. Nothing has made me cry so far. I've had quite a few books that I thought were pretty hilarious, but I have yet to find anything that's made me sad. So usually there's at least one book every year, but nothing so far this year. Question number 8 is, who's your book boyfriend? For me, that would be Bishop from The Counterfeit Scoundrel. This is by Lorraine Heath. And Bishop is basically I don't know what you would call him, but he basically helps women who need to get out of marriages. He will fake like a affair with these women so that they can use that as a reason to get a divorce from their husbands. So women who are being abused by their husbands, or women who just want to get out of marriages, unhappy marriages, he'll invite them over, they'll hang out all night, and they'll just make it look like these women are having an affair with him, and it makes him look really, really bad, like he's just this guy sleeping with all these married women, but he's doing it for a good reason, to help these women out. And I just like that about him. It's like he's a good guy. He's doing a good thing for all these women, so how could I not like him? Question number 9 is book or books that made you happy. This was the one that kind of stood out for me this year. I didn't end up giving it like 5 stars or anything, but it just made me like really happy just reading this book. This is Charming the Prince by Teresa Medeiros. And in this book we have a guy who's got all these kids, and he's looking for a wife, specifically so he can have somebody to watch all these kids that he's got. And this one was so much fun because the children in this book, I know for some people they don't like kids in their books, but these kids are hilarious. They they like wage war against their dad because he won't play with them, and they're upset that he won't give them the time of day. And so they and his new bride like wage war against him, and it's just the funniest thing. This book was so adorable. I love the kids. I love the hero. The heroine is a badass, and it just made me smile. It was a book that made me smile a lot, and so I had to put this one down for book that made me happy. Question number 10 is about favorite book to film adaptation, and honestly, there are none that I know of as far as like historical romances at the moment. So I don't really have an answer for this one. Really, honestly, the only show usually is Bridgerton, and there wasn't a season this year. So I know book 3 is going to be season 4, but that doesn't come out until next year. So yeah, no book to film adaptations that I know of so far for historical romance this year. Question number 11 is book that you want to read before the end of the year. For me, it's actually a series that I would like to read by the end of the year. It's by Gabrielle Meyer, and it's the Timeless series. I watched an interview that she did with B of Mama Needs to Read Romance, and it just sounds like such an interesting series. Based off of what she said, it's basically these women who are born in 2 different time periods, and the romances that they their romance stories between the 2 different time periods, and just kind of who they end up choosing. And yeah, it just I don't know, it just sounds really interesting. And I think B had read a few of the books and said that they were really, really good. And so I'm definitely interested in checking that series out. Question number 12 is, what are your channel goals? For me right now, my only channel goal is to try and post more regularly. I've been having a hard time posting on a regular schedule, a regular basis, and I think part of it is the fact that I have been in a bit of a reading slump for the last 2.5 months. I've just not been able to really read as much as I want to. I'm not feeling it a lot of the time, and I mean, this tends to happen every year where I go into a slump. But yeah, I'm just in a bit of a slump, and it makes it hard to find material and things to record about because I'm not reading as much at the moment. So yeah, I gotta get out of my reading slump that I'm in, but also just be more creative and come up with more types of videos. There's so many other things I could be recording, and I'm just not. So I gotta work on that. I gotta try and have a more consistent video posting schedule, but it's something I'm working on. I'm working on, getting back to my regular reading schedule, and also trying to find a more regular posting schedule. So hopefully I get there. This is just a bit of a rough patch for me this year so far, but it's at the top of my mind, and I'm working on it. What are you looking at? What's out there? What's out there? Okay, put your butt down. Put your butt down. Well, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching. I recently found out that YouTube is posting a lot of advertisements in videos. Not sure what that's about. I personally have the YouTube whatever it's called, the premium, like YouTube Premium, so I don't worry about advertisements when I watch videos. But for people who don't have YouTube Premium, I'm hoping that you're able to make it through this full video without having to watch like 67 advertisements to get to this point. But if you have made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. If you've read any of the books that I talked about so far this year, let me know in the comment section below. Tell me what you're reading. Let's chat in the comment section. And again, if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and leave me a shoe emoji, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.